Jungkook accidentally picked up Taehyung's phone. What he heard made the whole army speechless. A mysterious call that turns out to be intended for Taehyung is answered by Jungkook accidentally. However, Jungkook's reaction after hearing the voice on the other side was captured on camera and made everyone transfixed. His tears fell, his body trembled, and he kept saying one name, Iyama. What exactly did Taehyung's mother say that made Jungkook unable to hold back the tears? Is there something that has been hidden all this time? And why did CCTV become a witness to the most heart-wrenching moment in the history of BTS's friendship? Can a phone change everything? Is a single accidental call powerful enough to dismantle the deepest layers of a bond that has hitherto seemed unshakable? Is it true that a mother's voice can break through the wall of stubbornness of a Jungkook who has been known not to cry easily in front of anyone? It all happened so quickly, too quickly to be processed by anyone who witnessed it, especially for those in the room, who knew full well that Jungkook shouldn't have answered the phone. But it's like destiny is slipping through invisible signals, like the universe is planning something that no one ever expected. Jungkook just looked at Taehyung's vibrating phone, saw the name, Iyama, appear on the screen, and without thinking, he answered. And that's where it all started. A soft voice, almost like a whisper from the past, sounded from the other side. Jungkook initially fell silent, trying to ascertain who was speaking. But when the voice said Taehyung's name in a worried and loving tone, he knew immediately who it was. More than that, he felt something penetrate directly into his heart, because the voice was not just the voice of an ordinary mother. It was the voice of someone who had been a part of all of their lives. Taehyung's mother, a figure who has been silent, but full of meaning in BTS's journey. However, Taehyung's mother does not immediately realize that the one who answers is not her biological son. He talks long, reveals his worries, mentions longing, even tells how he secretly follows BTS broadcasts from behind a hospital window. He tells her how much he's heard that Taehyung looks tired lately, how much he hopes his son is okay, and the next sentence brings Jungkook's world to a standstill. I know you're not Taehyung, but you're Jungkook, right? As if time stopped. Jungkook's heart beat harder. No one in the room noticed how deep a breath he took after hearing his name called. His eyes immediately filled with tears. How did Taehyung's mother know? How could he recognize her just from the sound of a short murmur while answering the phone? What was surprising was not only that confession, but the next sentence. A sentence that scratches the deepest part of his feelings. Jungkook, thank you for always taking care of Taehyung. I always look at you, even when you don't know I'm watching. When you hugged her backstage when she was shaking, when you quietly put a blanket over her shoulder, I knew it was you. Jungkook didn't say a word. It's just listening. But his body began to shake, and when the CCTV camera installed in the corner of the dugout caught his face, the tears had already fallen. One by one. No sound, but very clearly, a devastating silence. Jungkook, the voice returned, this time more softly. If one day I can no longer talk to Taehyung, please tell him that he's a wonderful boy. And please stay by his side, like you've always been. The call was interrupted not because of the signal, but because the phone suddenly ran out of battery. The moment felt like it was pierced by an invisible knife. Even as Taehyung walked back into the room, he immediately stopped seeing Jungkook's facial expression. Hyung, why are you crying? He asked softly, and one sentence from Jungkook became a sign that something had just changed. I heard your mother's voice, he said quietly, in a barely audible voice. Taehyung remained silent. He knows. He understands. And he just hugged Jungkook without saying anything. This moment may not be noticed by many. But for the production team, the staff who saw the CCTV footage, and HYB herself who reviewed the clip before deciding not to broadcast it, it all came to a realization. This is something much bigger than just a regular phone call. This is a real fragment of a relationship that has been tested for years. A fragment that exposes the most fragile side of Jungkook and the unconditional love of a mother for her biological child and trust child. Why was the CCTV recorded? Why wasn't the video released? Why is it that none of the BTS members have publicly revealed the call? Is this HYB's decision to maintain privacy? Or is there another reason? Something deeper, more complex. Some insiders speculated that Taehyung's mother's health condition was at a critical juncture and that the call was not just a casual conversation, but a kind of disguised farewell message. But what is surprising is how Taehyung's mother said one last sentence before the connection was lost, which was accidentally recorded on the room's camera microphone. "You're more than just a family on stage. You are each other's destiny." Is this what made Jungkook cry so deeply? Is this the reason why Taehyung is more often seen looking blankly at his phone screen these days? Are both quietly shouldering the burden of a loss that hasn't really happened but is already deeply felt? And most emotionally, when fans realized that from that day on, Jungkook began wearing a small purple bracelet with small letters engraved, Taehyung's hope. Is this a form of respect? Is this a form of affection too deep to describe in words? One phone, one voice, and one cry that was secretly recorded by the camera. The world may never fully know, but for those who watch with heart, this is the quietest and most touching story in BTS history. And now, the question is, will Taehyung speak? Will Jungkook open up about the call that changed everything? Or will it remain an eternal secret, known only to the cameras that secretly keep the most sincere story ever? When a great secret is revealed not by plan, but by accident, that is the moment that no one could have predicted. And precisely because no one prepares, all the reactions are very pure, very real, especially from a Jungkook who has been known for his stubbornness, maturity, and introversion in terms of deepest emotions. But after the call, the mood changed. Even those who were in the same room with him, the creative team, makeup artists, lighting directors, all felt a drastic change from the previously relaxed atmosphere to silence and questioning. Jungkook did not say much. He does not complain, does not ask for time to be alone, does not shy away from the camera. But precisely in his silence, everyone knew something had shaken him. The most obvious evidence was a later live broadcast in which Jungkook appeared wearing an oversized hoodie, trying to hide his puffy eyes. The army knows it. They knew Jungkook's face. They can read your body language better than anyone else. Did Jungkook cry last night? Why is his gaze empty, but his smile forced? Why didn't he tease Taehyung like usual? The comments flooded the evening's live broadcast. And whether coincidental or not, Taehyung also seems more silent than usual. Even when the other members joked, he only smiled briefly and lowered his head, as if there was an invisible burden between them, and the big question begins to arise. What exactly is happening behind the scenes? A question that made wild speculation explode, especially when a former HYBE staffer leaked that the CCTV footage from the room was secured by HYBE's top manager on the same night and was never discussed again, even internally. The recording is too personal, too emotional. We knew we couldn't make it entertainment content. We can't even discuss it in the official forum. It was too real. The staffer revealed in an off-the-record interview quoted by one of BTS international fan YouTube channels, "It didn't take long before the army began investigating further. They're looking for patterns." They liken the timing of the call to the appearance of Jungkook's purple wristband, re-examining the live broadcast footage, piecing together scattered pieces of fact like a puzzle. And one of the most surprising clues was found by an army man from South Korea who uploaded a clip from the live broadcast on that day with additional subtitles. He zooms in as Taehyung and Jungkook sit next to each other and mutter softly, "Hyung, do you still hear his voice? I hear him every night now." That short sentence broke many hearts, because many interpreted it as a sign that Taehyung's mother may not have been able to be contacted again since then. Has he returned? Does that voice now only live in Jungkook's memory? But what makes the heart even more broken is Jin's reaction when he finds out the story behind the call. Jin, who is usually strong, full of jokes, and always keeps the other members' emotions in check, finally couldn't hide his tears while sitting alone with Jungkook in a private training session. One of the staff members who saw them said that Jin just hugged Jungkook and said, "If you need time to talk, I'm here. If you need silence, I'll be there too." A moment that was never broadcast. A moment known only to those present in person. But this story was leaked, not to gossip, but as proof of how close and human their bond is. Meanwhile, Taehyung finally gives a hint through a post on Weverse. She uploaded a blurry image from her phone, a silhouette of two people hugging, with a short caption. Sometimes, the last sound we hear can be the one that stays forever in our hearts. The army was crying. They responded with thousands of heartwarming. No one is really ready when reality slowly reveals its most honest face. For Jungkook, the phone wasn't just a voice. It was the echo of a relationship he never imagined would be so deep. And when he finally ventured to come to Taehyung's family home a few days after the call, it wasn't just his body that went into the room full of memories, but his soul as well. Not many know, but one of Taehyung's childhood friends, who also knows their family, shared the story with the fan community via an anonymous account. In his upload, he wrote that night Jungkook came alone, wearing a black jacket, mask, and hat, trying to be inconspicuous. He carries a small purple box that turns out to contain a personal gift for Taehyung's father and an old handwritten diary. What's in that book? According to the source, the book contains Jungkook's own handwriting, filled with fond memories of his behind-the-scenes moments with Taehyung. But there is one page that makes anyone who reads it will shed a tear. Iyama Taehyung, thank you for loving me like your own son. I know I never really said it, but every time you smile at me, I feel like I have a second home. Thank you for trusting me to take care of Taehyung, and I promise, no matter what happens, I'll still be by his side. As promised, never said. And sure enough, according to the source, when Taehyung's father read the writing, he couldn't say anything. He just sat in the living room, hugged the book to his chest, and cried in silence. Jungkook bowed deeply, hugged her, and that was where the most electrifying words sounded softly. I heard Emma's voice. He said, I take good care of Taehyung, but the truth is, I'm on guard. The sentence was so honest, so torn the wall of emotions, that the friend who was an eyewitness admitted that he could not sleep for days after hearing it. But the story does not stop there. Not long after the visit, fans discovered that Jungkook posted a short song on his Instagram story. There is no sound, only piano passages of the plan, and one line of lyrics appear in black text. You said you'd call again, but maybe this silence is your way of saying goodbye. The song, although only 30 seconds long, immediately became the subject of conversation. Many believe that the song was written right after Taehyung's mother's phone call. Even some music fans who are used to analyzing BTS songs reveal that its chord progressions are similar to the minor notes used in classic Korean farewell songs, a style of music full of emotion, silence, and inexpressible sadness. And even more heart-wrenching was when Taehyung uploaded an old photo of himself and Jungkook backstage at a 2017 concert with a one-word caption, "Forever." The photo lasted only a few hours before it was deleted. The internet never forgets. Thousands of screenshots were scattered, and hundreds of thousands of comments filled each of their uploads after that. Everyone wondered, is this a sign that Taehyung and Jungkook are going through a loss together? Are they grieving in secret, accompanied only by memories and songs that have not yet been released? HYB herself, when asked for confirmation, only responded with one short sentence. We respect the privacy of our artist and his family. Thank you for your understanding. The answers are dangling, enigmatic, yet sufficient to justify that there really is something going on. Especially when the latest BTS variety episode is suddenly postponed without an official reason. Many believe that the episode saved too many emotional moments from the days after the call, and as if not to keep fans speculating in the dark, on June 22nd, Jungkook secretly wrote a long message on the Weverse platform. The message, though anonymous, is clearly addressed to someone very special, and to all of the ARMY who have supported him unconditionally. Sometimes words are not enough. Sometimes everything can only be felt. But I want you to know, someone spoke to me on the phone, and although his voice now echoes in my memory, his message will never be lost. I promise I'll take care of him. Because love is not about time, but about commitment in the heart. Thank you for believing in me, Emma. Yeah, Jungkook called it. The words he had only whispered in silence, he now uttered in front of the world. And that night, Weverse was filled with thousands of one-word messages. Iyama. The ARMY is crying. The world is silent. And maybe, for From somewhere far away, someone who once called in that gentle voice smiled calmly, but there is still one thing that is not widely known to the public. One source from inside the recording studio mentioned that Taehyung and Jungkook were working on a secret